Biologyfactory. In our previous classes, we already covered what is botany, what is biology, father of botany, father of biology, all these things, and very recently we covered some of the branches of botany. So today we are going to discuss about some of the special branches of botany. In our previous class we just covered some of the general branches. So today we are going to study about some extra, that is some special branches. So let's begin. So our first branch is Mycology or Algology. If we try to understand what is Mycology and Algology, that means these are the same terms. It is the branch of botany which deals with the study of algae. So one question arises in mind, that what is algae? So algae means it is one type of aquatic submerged body. That means algae are diverse group of aquatic organisms, that means which mainly found in water bodies. Here is also one image of water body, and some type of green color structures are there, and these green color structures are otherwise known as your algae. And some books you also cover that algal blooms, that means in ponds there is algal blooms, formation of algal blooms are there. So this algae is a component, that means a structure which produce your photosynthesis. That means it is also contains a green color pigment pockets in it. That means you also look that it is green in color, and sometimes red algae is also there. That means here in this picture there is a number of red algae, that means in oceans and all these structures this red algae formation is also there. And as we are studying about plant, and this is also included in your botany. So the branch which deals with this type of structures are otherwise known as your Algology or Mycology, and this is all about your algae. So it is a simple and non-flowering plant, so there is no formation of flower is there, and it is a typical aquatic plant. That means it is mostly found in water bodies, and most commonly in ponds and river banks you also look this type of structures of algae. So nextly our Mycology. So the branch of botany which deals with the study of fungi is otherwise known as your Mycology. So Mycology is the study of fungi. So one question arises in mind, that what is fungi? So fungi is only a member of the group of eukaryotic organism, and it included your yeast and mosses also. So if we talk about yeast and mosses, then all type of mushrooms and all these things are included in this group of fungi. And the best example is your bread. If we put bread 2 to 3 days in outside, then we found a number of fungus like structures are developed on the upper surface of the bread, and these are the fungi. And these are the group of yeast which are developed in fungi, and yeast is also a part of your fungi, and mushrooms are also a part of your fungi. And in eukaryotic organisms, and you found that these are included in yeast and mosses also, and these are mostly found in that means in wood structures. You also have a look over here. There is a structure, mushroom like structure developed on a surface of a wood, and these are not only a single type of color, that means there is a various type of colored structures are also developed, and they don't pick their food directly. That means they do not produce their food directly, they just depend upon some of the bodies. So you just found this type of structures, any type of food structures that I told you, that in bread also, in wood also, these type of structures are developed. So the study of fungi is otherwise known as your mycology. And our next branch is our bryology. Bryology means it is the branch of botany which deals with the study of bryophyte. Then one question arises in mind again, that what is bryophyte? Bryophyte comes from a Greek word. That means this bryophyte comes from a Greek word, and if we split this bryophyte, one is our bryo, another one is your phyton. So bryo means your tree or moss, and phyton means your plant. That means it is an intermediate between your algae and fungi, and these structures are developed in your mostly not in your submerged water bodies. They are characteristically limited in stage. That means these are formed in drier environments. That means there is no need of some extra water, there is no need of some extra moisture in it, and they are that means this bryophytes is consist of around 20,000 plants are there. That means 20,000 types of plants are there. It is a most big, that means it is a big structure of species are there in our next, that means in our first chapter of botany of your first year, we are going to study briefly about all these things. That means in plant kingdom classification we are going to study about all these things. And one extraordinary feature of this bryology, that means your bryophyte, is that they do not produce any type of flower and seeds. That means there is no flowers and no seeds. And main interesting thing is that it is an intermediate structure. If you look over these diagrams, that all these plants contains teeny structures, and leaf structures are there, and all this reproduction and all these things are going over there. So the study of bryophyte is otherwise known as our bryology. Nextly, gymnology. Gymnology is the branch of botany which deals with the study of gymnosperms. Then gymnosperms. Gymnosperms is basically a group of seed producing plants which include your conifers and your cycads and all these things. And gymnosperms is that means the word gymnosperms is come from a Greek word, and it is a composite form of a Greek word, and which means your necked seed. That means the gymnosperms, it literally means your necked seed, and the name, that means the name necked seed, is based on its structure and its formation of the seeds. That means the total gymnosperm is based on the formation of seeds. That means it deviates from all the plants only in their seed structures. So that means there is no structures developed. That means that means the seeds are not covered here. That means the fruit is, that means there is no fruit is over there. That means seed is not included by any type of seed coat, any type of fruit structures. That means no endosperm formation is also there. That means in a couple of stages later you all know about a structure of a fruit and a seed coat, all these things. You just know one thing over there. That means one thing in this gymnosperm, that the seeds are open. That means in naked eye we literally found the seeds on the outside of the plant. So it is included in your gymnosperm. Then a opposite word is arise from gymnosperm, which is your angiosperms. Here I wrote over angiosperms. That means it is this figure is the basic difference of your gymnosperm and angiosperm. So in gymnosperms, the seeds, these are the seeds which are exposed in outside, but in angiosperms, that means there is in angiosperms the distinguished from the gymnosperms, if we, that means it is distinguished by some of the characters, and that means including your flowers, flower is there, and fruit formation is also there, and seeds are also formed over here. But if we talk about the top angiosperms, angion means your case, and that means causing, that means it is a cover, your case, and your sperma means your, that means the word sperma means your seed. That means your gymnosperms, the seed is open, and in angiosperms the seed is covered in a case. So it is the basic difference of your gymnosperm and angiosperms. Nextly, pteridology. Pteridology means it is the branch of botany which deals with the study of pteridophytes. So what is pteridophytes? Pteridophyte means it is flowerless green plant. That means there is no flowers are there in this image also, in this image also. Look that there is no flowers, only leaf structures are there, and there is no formation of fruits are also there. But it is a hidden structure of your pteridophyte. That means it is otherwise known as your cryptogams. That means the pteridophytes sometimes are known as your cryptogams, because here you found that there is that means the reproduction structure is mostly hidden. That means in spores they are produced their other bodies. That means the reproduction structure is your spores. So the spores are mostly float in water, mostly float in wind, so that its formation of the pteridophytes, that means the reproduction structure is developed. So it is sometimes known as your cryptogams, and it is only the vascular body which produces xylem and phloem tissues that disappears spores. And we are in second chapter we are going to study about your xylem and phloem tissues. That means the tissues which are found in plant body for the flotation of water and nutrient mediums and uptake of water and mediums in root and shoot system. Briefly we are going to study about all these things. So this is your pteridology, and it is the branch of botany which deals with the study of pteridophyte. Nextly, virology. That means this slide is most common thing. That means this word virus is most common thing in this pandemic situation of corona. You all know that all these situations are taken off by only this thing, that means this virus. So the study of virus is otherwise known as your virology, and viruses are not in this shape. There is a number of shapes of virus are there. There is a number of types of viruses are there. That means there is a number of various types of viruses, and their antibodies are also found. And if we talk about virology, it is developed in number of structures and number of forms, and they are mostly structures which are produces to forms number of, that means these are the forms which produce a number of diseases in number of cases. So these are the structures of your viruses. That means literally this is a structure of your virus, and this is the structure of our DNAs. And in DNAs there is a number of cells. These are the blood cells are also there, and here there is the viruses forms. That means in bodies are also various types of viruses. That means the disease are attacked by all these means. So the study of virus is otherwise known as our virology. Nextly, bacteriology. Bacteriology means the study of bacteria. So it is the branch of biology which deals with the study of bacteria. It is the branch of biology. So bacteria means the form. It is also a disease causing process, and bacteria, for the bacteria and virus, these are most common things in disease. That means in bacteria you may root up your viruses. These are mostly the things, but in your bacteria it mostly contains a number of flagellated structure. That means this is a root like, that means the outgrowth structures are also there, and the total body is contains a number of pills, and a number of DNAs are also included in it. So it is about your bacteriology. Next, your microbiology. Microbiology is, here I gave all these structures. That means virus is also there, your bacteria is also there, a number of your fungi is also there, algae is also there. All these things are included in your microbiology. So microbiology means it is the study of all microorganisms like your algae, fungi, bacteria, viruses, protozoans related to various industrial and biological process. So if we study about the biological process or industrial process, industrial means in your every industrial field. You may talk about your medicinal, you may talk about any type of things which are included in your virus, bacteria, fungi, protozoans, algae, all these things. The things which are included, they are otherwise known as your microbiology. That means it is a field where all the parts are there. That means algae is there, fungi is there, bacteria is there, and virus is also there. The field is always known as your microbiology. Nextly, your molecular biology. Molecular biology means we are study about, that means it is study of synthesis, structure and function of molecules like proteins, lipids, carbohydrates, nucleic acids like your RNA, DNA, enzymes, etc. Then what is our molecular biology? Molecular biology means any type of thing. If we talk about carbohydrates, that means a number of food beverages are included in it, number of pulses are included in it, number of fruits are included in it. And proteins, if we talk about the proteins, if we talk about the lipids, fatty acids, all these things. That means that there is a 20 type of proteins and number of type of fatty acid, and all these things are included. That means in our body structures there is a number of proteins, lipids, carbohydrate, and nucleic acids are also there. That means nucleic acid, which included our DNA and RNA structure. This is a structure of your DNA, that means your double helical structure. And briefly we are going to study about genetics, all these things about DNA, RNA, all these things. And this study is otherwise known as your, this field is otherwise known as your molecular biology. Nextly, biotechnology. This slide is totally blank because the thing which we already covered in our previous slide is that it deals with the application of living microorganisms for their manufacture and useful products. If you talk about any type of living microorganisms, and from these microorganisms we are going to study about a number of things. That means one is, if we split the term biotechnology, two terms are arise over here. One is your bio, another one is your technology. If we talk about biology, bio means our biology, and technology means technique. That means in a single field where we are going to study about the biological things, that means the microorganism, and the technical field, the manufacturing process. That means the field where the two things, that means the microorganisms and technique, both are included, are otherwise known as biotechnology. And biotechnology is a vast field of biology. You also know that a single thing, that this is the vast field of our biology. Nextly, genetic engineering. It is also one of the application of our biotechnology, which we already covered. So genetic engineering. Genetic means our gene. Gene means the DNA, RNA, all these things. That means the basic is your DNA. So engineering means we have to the application. That means you may talk about gene repair, you may talk about gene cloning. That means in nowadays we are talking about designer babies, we are talking about cloning. All these things are included in genetic engineering. So it is the technique consisting of various operations in gene cloning. Cloning means preparing of a structure of its own type, and gene repair, synthesis of artificial gene in a predetermined way. That means it is a technique. That means it is a technique where we are studying how all these things are appeared. That means how the engineering process, that means the process where the total DNA repair takes place, gene repair takes place. That means if we talk about a double helical structure over here, if we talk about double helical structure, we just rupture that means we just pick out some of the genes and attach some of the extraordinary genes, that means of its own. That means we just clone, that means we just cover any type of things, we just cover any type of things genetically which are included in this field. That means every type of functions which are included related to gene, and we just repair, we just clone all these things with the synthesis. All these things are included in genetic engineering. Nextly, bioinformatics. Bioinformatics means every type of data which are related to our body, and this relation is picked out in a report. That means if we take an example of our body, we talk about ECG, electrocardiograph, we talk about breathing process, we just scan our mind, we just scan our body. All this information, all this data are taken over by computers. That means through computers we just analyze all these things, and this process is, that means this branch is always known as your bioinformatics. Bio means our biological field, and other one is informatics, means our information. That means information of biological thing. So it is the process of biological data feeding, that means the biological data, and sorting and analyzing them through computers. So we just sort the data and analyze them through the computers. That means all these things are analyzed, and we just found a report. At last we just found a report that it is good, it is positive, negative, all these things. Through computers we just found all these things. So it is deal of your bioinformatics. Nextly, Arbiculture. So what is Arbiculture? You all know about gardens and a number of gardens where a number of ornamental shrubs are there, a number of trees are there. So before going to shrubs and trees, I just differentiate all these things. That means what is your tree, what is your shrub, what is your herb. So if you talk about any type of plant structure, in previous class I also told you all these things. We simply divide the total structure into three types. One is our tree, another one is our shrubs, another one is our herb. So it is just the management of all these things. That means the tree is also included in it, the ornamental shrubs are also included in it. That means if we talk about this type of all these things, that means it is just the arrangement of plants. Here we just cultivate a number of stylish plants. That means we just ornamental plants are arranged over here, that means in gardens, and the ornamental arrangement of these ornamental flowers, ornamental plants and bushes, all these things are included in your Arbiculture. So in Arbiculture we just management the ornamental shrubs and trees. The both things are included in your Arbiculture. Nextly, Floriculture. What is Floriculture? Flori means your flower. Flower means here we just cultivate ornamental and flowers. That means ornamental flower and flowering plants. So here we just cultivate a number of type of flowers, and this image is a image of your Uti botanical garden, where there is a rose garden where a number of roses are cultivated, and here is also a field where a number of flowers are managed, that means a number of flowers are cultivated, and the process of cultivation of this type of flower and flowering structures developed in a field is otherwise known as our floriculture. So floriculture is the branch where we just management ornamental flowering plants. Nextly, silviculture. Silviculture means it is also a management process. If we talk about any type of disaster, and any type of disaster which occur in field, which occur in our forest, and if we talk about fire in a forest, if we talk about fire in a grassland, all these things, here a management process is arise. After the disaster, a management process is arise, and for this only the culture process is applied, which is otherwise known as a silviculture. So it deals with the development of forest and utilization of forest products. So if we talk about a forest, it deals with how the improvement process of forest takes place, how the harvesting of the plants takes place, how the rearrangement of the processor takes place, how the shortening of all the plant and organisms takes place. All these things are included in your development of a forest. And the utilization of forest products, that means the timber, the honey, all these things which are come from a forest, how all these things are management, all these management structures, all the utilization structures are included in your silviculture. Next is your agrostology. Agrostology means it is simply the study of grasses. So here we are just studying about a number of grasses, grass reproduction, this flowering structure, how the spores are got evaporated from one layer to another layer, how the root structure, how the leaf structure, all these things. That means it is simply the study of grass. So the branch of biology which deals with the study of grasses is otherwise known as our agrostology. Nextly, horticulture. Horticulture is included three type of things. One is our fruit, another is our vegetable, another is our flowering plant. If we talk about rose plant, if we talk about China rose plant, if we talk about any type of flowering plant, it is also included in your horticulture. If you talk about any type of fruit and any type of vegetable, these are also included in your horticulture. So study of production and management, that means both the things, the production of fruit, vegetable and flowers, and management of all these things is otherwise known as our horticulture. Nextly, olericulture. Then what is your olericulture? We just differentiate all these things. In horticulture, I told you that all these things, the fruit, vegetable and flowering plants are included in your horticulture. But here olericulture, it deals with the production of vegetable crops. That means all the vegetables are included in it, but not the fruits. So fruits are not included in it in olericulture. So olericulture means it is deals with the production of vegetable crops. Nextly, pomology. Pomology means fruit trees. That means the study of fruit trees is otherwise known as our pomology. In pomology, we are just covering about the development of a plant, that means of a fruit plant, the development of a fruit, and all the structures, all the activities which are included to a fruit tree is derived from your pomology. Nextly, limnology. Limnology means it is included in our ecosystem, and ecosystem means surrounding. You just literally know one thing, that ecosystem means our surrounding, that means our total environment and its management. That means where we are now living, this is our environment, and the study of all this relation between environment to us is otherwise known as your ecosystem. Eco means ecological systematical arrangement is otherwise your ecosystem. So study of freshwater ecosystem. What is our freshwater ecosystem? Freshwater means that means the water body. If we take an example of a pond, if we take an example of a river, all these are included in your freshwater ecosystem. Then all are included in freshwater. That means your pond, river, these are the examples of your freshwater. So what is your ecosystem? Ecosystem means the structures which are living. So you just look over here. Here is a image of your river. If you talk about this river, there is a number of fishes are there. In riverbank there is a number of grasses are there, a number of insects are there, and all these things, that means a number of animals are there, that means a number of things which are related to one by one. That means your fish, your insects, your plants, all these things are togetherly form one systematical arrangement, which is otherwise known as an ecosystem. So if we talk about this type of freshwater ecosystem, then the branch is our limnology. So the branch which deals with the freshwater ecosystem is otherwise known as your limnology. Next, dendrology. Dendrology means it deals with the study of trees and shrubs. Then what is our trees and shrubs? If we talk about the term dendro, it is a Greek word meaning tree. Dendro means your tree, and dendrology is the study of taxonomy. Taxonomy means we just cut down a part and internally, that means if we talk about age of that plant, if we talk about any type of disease, we just study about the cells of that plant. If we study about the bark of that plant, all these things, that means it is characteristics, that means the characteristics of morphology, ecology, all these things which are included to a, that means trees or shrubs, that means the bushes, all these things are included in your dendrology. So it deals with the study of trees and shrubs. So here is some of the branches of, that means some of the special branches of botany. So hope this session is helpful to all of you. Till then, stay tuned. Thank you.